I'm gonna be doing two lives today. The first live is gonna be about Wise Women Balance. It's one of our most popular products, and I want to just walk you through the different herbs that you can benefit from. That's found in Wise Women Balance. We also got a $5 off on it going on right now until the 7th, so we got 4 more days. um, I think it's nice to kind of get blends because you get a lot of herbs in one place. But if you, for whatever reason, prefer to separate them out, then you can get them separately. It's up to you, and then just get it from other brands. But but I want to kind of today, I want to spend a little bit more time educating you on what are some of the herbs and vitamins and minerals that really make a huge difference in women, especially in perimenopause and menopause. And then after that, I'm going to do another live where I'm going to be talking about estrogen dominance in menopause and perimenopause. There's a big confusion around that because as women, we think that, like, hey, if I'm in menopause, my estrogen is really low, then there's no way I'm going to have estrogen dominance happening because I'm low on estrogen. So that doesn't make sense. And it's a very plausible thought, but it's not an accurate one. And actually, estrogen dominance in menopause is even more dangerous than, for example, having that in younger reproductive years. So it's really worthwhile for you to log in. If you are suffering from things like fibrocystic breast, you have a history of fibroids, of course, breast cancers, estrogen receptor positive breast cancer, or if you've been having issues with fibroids, always very difficult periods, you're going through a hell while going through perimenopause and menopause, I highly suggest for you to log into the next call that I'm doing afterwards about estrogen dominance in menopause. So let me talk a little bit about Wise Women Balance. This is one of our top selling products, and there is automatically in the store, we're applying $5 off today. So that's going to be available until Sunday. So 4 more days if you want to take advantage of that. So what's so special about this and why is it so popular? We typically give all supplements equal chance, and some of them become much more popular than others. And I think the reason is that it's just the impact that it has on women's health. And so the reason why we put the blend together, and we call it Wise Women Balance, because Wise Women, it kind of indicates this, for women who are like the perimenopausal, menopausal, women going through struggles with that, but also then, looking for a place of balance. And so many of you here are asking, for example, about, what can you do to increase your estrogen level? So there's some herbs in here, and there's some herbs in general that you can use. In fact, I've just been drinking a tea just before coming live, so that you can really to really help my estrogen levels. One of the ways that you know that your estrogen is dropping, speaking of low estrogen, is that a couple of things. One is you begin to feel a decline in your mental function. That's a lot of women start thinking, like, start noticing, right? Like how you're just not as sharp and quick as you used to be. And maybe your recall of names is not the same. The moment when you walk into a kitchen, you're like, what did I walk in here for? Right? Some women would experience that in the form of bones beginning to get really brittle, and so entering osteopenia, and obviously osteoporosis. Estrogen actually plays a critical role in bone health. Women who start showing signs of cardiovascular health, again, estrogen is a protective hormone when it comes to cardiovascular health. You might start experiencing that your muscles are not as strong as they were before. Your sleep might not be as solid as you used to be. I certainly feel that. And of course, the classical one, which has like, my hair is like, has a mind of its own. Hey, you guys, I will say, can I just say, not everybody, just because you see me on camera every week, I also have my days that I'm not great. Today is my day when I'm not actually great. And I've got an ear infection. I don't know why. I've been off sugar. I've been off alcohol. And I've been doing a parasite cleanse, which I will talk to you about in a couple of months. And so I don't know what the heck is going on, but I'm not feeling great. Anyway, girls, gonna keep going. So let's see. Going back to estrogen. So yeah, hot flashes. So that's something that almost everybody that's like one of the, I think, entry point when you start beginning to feel like, oh, my estrogen is not the same what it used to be. Hot flashes, but also beginning to get hot. So one of the functions that estrogen has is its role is to contract your vascular system, right? So, but when you are low on estrogen, and basically you get like this a lot of blood going all through your body. And so, who here has experienced just feeling hot a lot of the time? I'm beginning to. Part of the reason why I'm not been having great sleep lately is because I keep waking up and it's not a hot flash, but I'm just feeling really, really hot. And even though the room is really cool. So that could be a low estrogen. And so other things that you can improve your estrogen, absolutely. So let's not demonize estrogens. You can tell from the list of symptoms that I mentioned, you cannot be a healthy woman. You won't be here sitting and listening to me, holding your phone with your healthy bones and having cognitive function and sleep well and have cardiovascular health and good quality skin, etc., without having sufficient estrogen levels. So I don't want to demonize that. And this is the reason why Wise Women Balance was designed in a way that it helps you to bring up your estrogen levels if it's low. And so we use some herbs for that here, and namely black cohosh is one of them. But on the other hand, we're also using other things like broca power, DIM, and calcium d-glucarate in order to ensure that the way the estrogens are broken down is in a favorable way. So you're creating more of those protective estrogens that actually helps you through the symptoms of perimenopause, menopause, and less of the dirty estrogens that are causing all the symptoms that I talked about. So that's really important to understand. And this is, I think, part of the reason why this formula works so well for women who are going through hell in perimenopause, but also menopause, as well as women who are just even younger women who are having period problems. So let me walk you through a few of the ingredients and just tell you what the magic and why the magic happens with the supplement and the way it's formulated. So the first one is we've got B6 in it. Vitamin B6, a lot of people don't realize. Oh, by the way, who knows here, what is your B6? Like, what is like one of the symptoms, really interesting ones related to sleep, but it's not poor quality sleep, something related to sleep that you might be B6 deficient. What do you think the symptom is? And I'm going to circle back to this in a second. One of the functions of B6 is a precursor for a number of different neurotransmitters, including the ones that keep you calm. Serotonin, for example, depends on your vitamin B6 levels, but also progesterone, which is another thing I'm gonna be talking about in a later call today. Is the reason why estrogen progesterone ratio is really important in menopause. So this is B6 is going to be a precursor specifically here for progesterone production. And Kate Weaving is correct, cannot recall dreams. Yes, that's the one way of knowing that you might be B6 deficient, that you wake up and you have zero recollections of your dreams. And you say, I never dream anything. You actually do, because your brain is working when you're sleeping. You just don't remember that. And that can be improved by fixing your B6 deficiency. If you're getting this from somewhere else, a similar blend, if there's such a thing, or if you're taking B vitamins, make sure that it's a B6 that is methylated. Not just B12 is methylated, but B6 can be methylated as well. And that's the one that we use in here, is the methylated B6. So again, for your neurotransmitters and progesterone production. We have folate in here. This is for women more in reproductive years. That can be used. B12, we're using that for, obviously, for a lot more energy. It's in a methylated form. So let me circle back to some of them in a second, but what I want to, maybe the next one I want to talk about is chaseberry. So we use Vitex in here. We are using 200 milligrams, so it's a decent dose. Vitex and chaseberry, some of you may know, it's a natural progesterone booster. So even in women in perimenopause, when you are already very low on on progesterone, that is something that can really help a lot. In fact, in Germany, Vitex is used as a first go-to method to increase progesterone levels in women in her reproductive years. For example, when a woman can't get pregnant, she goes to see a doctor in Germany. As part of insurance, it is all covered by insurance for women to get on Vitex. How cool is that? One word of caution when it comes to Vitex is that some women just don't do well on this herb. It's an amazing herb, but it's also a powerful herb. And so how do you know you're not doing well? Well, one of the ways of knowing is that it kind of messes with your cycle. you get mid-cycle spotting, your luteal phase suddenly becomes painful. If that is a reaction you're generally getting from Vitex, you already know it, then it definitely is not a supplement I recommend to you. That's one of the supplements I personally cannot take. We made a decision to use Vitex in here. Unfortunately, I can't do Vitex because it really messes up from ovulation to my luteal phase. I feel weird. I feel it in my ovaries, and sometimes I get mid-cycle spotting, which is not okay. But otherwise, if you respond well to it, this is a real saver. Now, why is that important in perimenopause and menopause is that your progesterone, and I'm going to show you this in the next call, how quickly your progesterone drops after age 35, and it especially starts dropping after age 45. And so one of the ways that estrogen dominance manifests in women is that your ratio of estrogen progesterone is off. So one way of bringing up your progesterone levels through herbalism is exactly through by adding chaste tree. Next one is we are using is black cohosh. So black cohosh in traditional Chinese medicine is very well known, as renowned for elevating estrogen levels. So you might be thinking, why are we talking about that, in the context of estrogen dominance and women in menopause? So it's really important to understand that even though you might be experiencing a lot of symptoms of estrogen dominance, it doesn't mean that all estrogen is bad. Like I said at the beginning of this call, actually estrogen is super important for your well-being, your cycle, whether it's reproduction, your mental function, your strength of your muscles, your cognitive function, your quality of sleep, your bone health, all depend on high quality or adequate amount of estrogen. So black cohosh has historically been amazing in elevating estrogen levels naturally. And the reason why I think this formula is powerful is because we then combine that with DIM and calcium d-glucarate, which is also in here, as well as Broca Power. And some of you may recognize these names because these three compounds are also helping there to help you break your estrogens to more towards the clean estrogens versus the dirty estrogens. And that's really, really important. So if you think about it, this formula is powerful because on one hand, you are elevating your estrogen levels the healthy way through herbs. You are then you have all the different compounds in here to help you metabolize that estrogens more towards the clean estrogens away from dirty estrogens. And then on top of that, you are also elevating your progesterone levels to match your estrogen levels, which is another, super beneficial point. Many of you know that you are low on progesterone when suddenly your sleep becomes an issue. You're getting a lot more anxious. You start thinking, you start having a lot of worrying thoughts, a lot more than you were used to. So those are like the classical examples of low progesterone, right? Then you can naturally increase. So we are having $5 off on our Wise Women Balance until Sunday. You can grab it on wellena.com. The link is already posted in the comments, I believe. And Kamalani, if we can also post that on Instagram. So if not, you can just look up our bio, and the link is there on wellena.com. It's the name of the store. The coupon is already auto-applied in the cart. So if you want to claim that and try this out, look at the reviews so that see whether that is something that speaks to you. And if you prefer to do, separate herbs, it's going to be more expensive typically. But one way you can, for example, avoid chasteberry. If you know that chasteberry is not your friend, avoid it, and then just focus on black cohosh for high estrogen. DIM sulforaphane, calcium d-glucarate helps you metabolize estrogens very effectively. Then you can have B vitamins as a separate thing, which is, I think every woman should be taking B vitamins anyway. And and so I think that is going to be a really nice solution for you. There is an email that went out today that we sent out that there's a few other supplements that really helps you with with menopause and going through menopause. I feel that magnesium is actually one of the most powerful minerals that are really missing and really can help women going through perimenopause and menopause. And so be mindful when you're getting magnesium. The magnesium we recommend is magnesium glycinate, malate in the morning, glycinate throughout the day, in the evening, citrate if you're constipated, but it's not a form of magnesium I recommend on a daily basis because it can give you a lot of loose stool. And lastly, do avoid at all cost magnesium oxide. That's a cheap form of magnesium that just doesn't do any good and is completely useless. And so it's not just useless, it actually can do more harm than it can do good, and it's not going to help you elevate your magnesium levels. There's a lot of symptoms of having low magnesium. One of them is that you're having hot flashes, you've got poor quality sleep, you're constipated a lot of the time, there's a lot of anxiety, you're having a lot of tension in your muscles, you are anxious, your liver is not functioning very well. But the one that I feel like is very, very revealing that you're low on magnesium is like when you crave chocolate. So chocolate contains a high content of cacao. Cacao's got high amount of magnesium. And in the process of eating chocolate, your body is kind of like used to it, saying, you know what, every time you use chocolate, you're giving me some good magnesium here. Bring it on, right? So that's when the craving is created. And so if you're craving chocolate like crazy, you're not craving sugar most of the time, you're craving actually magnesium. So this is your way to, and we explain on the website how to do the bowel test challenge so that you can replenish your levels before you back off, okay? In times of stress, you might need even higher levels of magnesium. A lot of women have reported taking magnesium has helped them with fibrocystic breasts a lot of the time, like their breast health just improves significantly, but also reduces hot flashes a whole great deal. Brenda is asking, should I take magnesium at night? Yes, absolutely, you can. This is just make sure that you don't take the malate form, which is very energizing for a lot of people, not for everyone, but for a lot of people. Do take the glycinate form. And if you are constipated on a regular basis, then do magnesium citrate, and that's going to help you go. Another product that we featured, which I think could be super helpful for you, is our vitamin C burst. Vitamin C, everybody thinks of vitamin C as being a great immune supporter. And, I did a call a couple of weeks ago about strengthening the host in the context of today's virus that's going around, that we talk so much about vaccine, and no one is really talking about strengthening the host, that whether you're vaccinated or you're not vaccinated, when your host is strong, the virus is going to have lesser of a field time, if you will, ravaging the body. And so vitamin C is actually really great as a preventative measure, yes. But from a context of hormones, adequate vitamin C levels can also help you tremendously with production of progesterone. And one of the biggest misconceptions is that we don't produce, as women in perimenopause and menopause, we don't produce progesterone anymore. That cannot be further from truth. And that's the reason why a lot of women in menopause suffer tremendously, because they have insufficient progesterone levels. Also can be estrogen levels, but progesterone is one of them too. So by supporting your body through vitamin C, you are not only strengthening the host, meaning your body and your immune system, but you're also letting yourself produce sufficient progesterone levels naturally. So really nice benefits of those two. If you're not signed up to our mailing list and you find that stuff that I'm talking about somewhat interesting, then we send out a couple of emails, 2 to 3 emails a week. Most of it is educational. And then sometimes we have products that we recommend, such as, for example, the ones that I'm talking about today. So let's see, is there any other questions, Kamalani, that I haven't covered that are related to the topic today that we want to talk about? Can it be taken while on hormone replacement therapy? Yes, it can. Yes, it can. Yes. Let's see. Coach Kim is saying, yes, I toss and turn at night last night, and it's 22 degrees outside. Yeah. So that is one of them. A lot of you are saying yes to hot, feeling really hot. That's a sign of estrogen going down. So just to share with you my own personal experience, I'm almost 50, so I just turned 49, so I'm gonna be 50 next year, and obviously I'm in perimenopause, and so how I know this is because my luteal phase is significantly shorter. So from ovulation to my period, it's a significantly shorter period. So that's why my cycle is no more 28 days. It's kind of gone down to 21, 24 days. That's the average now. So that's how it started off. And then ever since I got back to the United States in January, I'm been feeling quite a lot of times hot, but not a full-on hot flash, but it's just feeling suddenly hot. And like I was mentioning earlier, that is a classical sign of estrogen going down, because estrogen is a vascular diluter, which means that it dilutes your vascular system, right? So your basically your blood flow. But when you're low on estrogen, you got too much of blood and so much heat going through the body, and that's why women start feeling really hot. One of the ways of increasing your estrogen levels, we have actually articles about that, and you can go to hormonesbalance.com and take a look at how you can increase it. There's various ways. One of them I was talking about in Wise Women Balance, we have black cohosh, but I actually am taking a tea. So I'm infusing a tea. I've been doing that for the past 3 days, and I think things are improving, which is made from a red clover and red raspberry leaf. And so those are classical ones for hot flashes and feeling hot, because they are also slightly estrogenic and they increase estrogen level. The other really great one is for you to consider adding a couple of tablespoons of flaxseed, so ground flaxseed, into your, just don't cook with it, but you can have it in a glass of water. You can make desserts out of it, and so sorts of little, bowls and stuff like that. We have a ton of recipe on our website. If you just look at seed rotation, there are some seed rotation bowls that you can use. But really, the simplest way to do it is to pre-grind a whole bunch of flaxseed, put it in your glass of water, and chuck it down first thing in the morning. Flaxseed is got the highest content of phytoestrogens, so naturally occurring estrogen. At the same time, it is also, food is just so incredibly amazing, right? Flaxseed together with pomegranates fall in the same category of what we call SERM, S-E-R-M, selective estrogen receptor modulator, which means that if your body is low on estrogen, it will bring the estrogen down, but at the same time, it helps to break down those estrogens in a positive way. So, it will not make you overly estrogenic, right? Which is just so beautiful. All right, let's take two questions, and then I get cold flushes. I haven't heard of those actually, Sarah. And one thing that comes to mind about like just feeling cold and cold flushes is to look at your thyroid and see whether low thyroid symptoms, whether you're experiencing any of those as well. Can this help with exposure to estrogenic molds? So mold isn't estrogenic per se. Mold can create a lot of estrogenic problems. Look, either way, you've got to get rid of your mold in one way or another. So you don't really understand the question. You've got to get rid of mold, period, and it's going to help your hormones together with a lot of other things too. Let's take one more. Kate is saying, is flaxseed okay if you have low testosterone? Absolutely. Absolutely so. In fact, Kate, thank you for mentioning this. I forgot to say this. Our Wise Women Balance, one of the compounds that we have here is Chrysin. So Chrysin is what's called an aromatase inhibitor. What it means is that testosterone in the pathway, testosterone gets converted to estrogens, okay? And there is a way to stop that. And Chrysin is exactly what it does that. So basically, that will help you maintain more testosterone levels, right? Especially for women in perimenopause, menopause, that is a significant problem. Our testosterone starts dropping and not converting to estrogens, Kate. So yes, definitely. That's thank you for asking that question. I completely forgot about that, and that's what's in Wise Women Balance. Okay, I think that's good. Let's thanks for everybody for being here today. If you're interested in hearing more about estrogen dominance in menopause and what to do about that, I will be logging on in just a couple of minutes. All right, thanks everyone, and I'll see you later.